Chapter 7, Self Knowledge. Who am I? What's my purpose? How can I become a better? These questions circulate in our minds on a daily basis. Oddly enough, one day we feel we know the answers. The next day we question them. And on the third day, we are totally lost again. But in fact, there is nothing weird about this. Our brain is evolutionarily developed to question everything, including itself. The constant questioning, however, leads to some distress in life. I don't think there is a clear and long term answer for the questions above because we change so often. If you asked me who I was and what my purpose on this earth was 15 years ago, I would have answered, I'm the girlfriend of my boyfriend, and my purpose is to get married to him and grow chickens and farm together. Today, this answer sounds hilarious, the chicken part much less than the others. Psychologists have found that the stories we tell ourselves about who we are seriously affect our behavior, whether in a positive or negative sense. If you believe that you are smart, you actually achieve better results on mental challenges, tests, and in arguments. I conducted my own mini experiment to demonstrate this theory. I once gave my grandpa two pills for his headache. After he told me that he felt much better, I revealed to him that I had actually given him Tic Tacs instead of medicine. Our beliefs have power over us. This is precisely the reason why we should be aware of them and learn to question them over time. Zen Buddhism differentiates two types of mind, the thinking mind and the observing mind. The thinking mind is the voice in your head that relentlessly chatters. Even if you decide to meditate and quiet your thoughts, it will still project some pictures and thoughts. The thinking mind never sleeps. It talks to you when you stand in line, when you are about to sleep, sometimes even in your sleep. Have you ever noticed this? Yes. Then you did it with your observing mind. The observing mind is the one you use to keep track of your thoughts and actions. Unfortunately, people don't use their observing minds as vigorously as they do their thinking mind. Until I read about Zen Buddhism, I didn't even know this distinction existed. Instead, I called my observing mind my better judgment or my right mind, while I often referred to the thinking mind as being out of my mind. I usually wasn't in my right mind. When someone cries out to you saying, "What were you thinking?" You are not in your right mind. That person actually means, "Hey, Dofus, please check on your thinking mind with your observing mind because it's running wild." When the thinking mind gets out of control, the observing mind can't do much about it. Have you ever asked someone for help on how to channel your anger? What can I do to stop feeling angry? The answer is you can't stop it. Once the thinking mind is unchained, that horse is gone. What you can do is to not identify with your emotions. Zen teaches that instead of telling yourself, "I am angry," say, "I feel anger." You are not the human form of anger. You were just poisoned by this emotion. By making this tiny switch in your thinking, you can separate yourself from the emotion. Your emotions pop up from your subconscious. You can't control them, but you can control how you express them. As soon as you become aware of the mess your thinking mind is about to cause, you can catch yourself in the moment, accept that you feel anger or fear or anxiety, and consciously take them under your mental microscope. Anger, just like impatience, arises because of an unmet need. It can be your unmet need or the unmet need of someone else. Sometimes we become angry because someone else is hostile toward us or a cause we believe in. In this case, it can be helpful to listen and figure out what the unmet need is behind the other person's anger. If your partner says you have emotional constipation, you have the following choices. You can hate yourself for being so emotionless. You can feel resentment toward your partner for saying something so hurtful. Or you can choose to examine what you feel and why you find his remark painful, while thinking about what unmet need of his is causing him to make such a remark. For example, you may find his remark painful because you feel unappreciated for all of your efforts when you do try to be emotional. You can also empathize with your partner who may need more emotional feedback from you and right now is unhappy. Instead of lashing out at him, saying, "You are such a jerk," and what you said is very unfair, you can say something like, "Thank you for being honest with me. I acknowledge that you say this because you feel the need for more emotional feedback from me. I wish to tell you that although I accept your need, your remark made me feel unappreciated and sorrowful because it implies you don't recognize the effort I make when I am emotional. You don't have the power to avoid feeling anger, but you do have the power to decide how you will express it. Separate your emotions from your identity. You are not your emotions. The more you choose to focus on your emotions, the more powerful they become. Even if you focus on getting rid of negative emotions, they will have a greater presence in your life the harder you try. Also, focusing on something you don't want to do is much less effective than focusing your attention on the things you want to do. For example, instead of saying, "I don't want to feel anger," say, "I want to feel peaceful." Accept that negative thoughts and emotions are part of life. You can't get rid of them, but you can let them go. Stop identifying with them. Change negative statements like, "I hate my job," to, "I am feeling hatred towards my job." This way, you gain a verbal and mental distance from the problems. You will realize that your rephrased negative statements are suggesting a temporary state instead of an unchangeable fact. Self discipline. If the upgraded version of Toyota is Lexus, the advanced version of patience is self discipline. Well founded self discipline can grant you long term success in all aspects of life. It doesn't matter if you wish to be slimmer, a better football player, or an acknowledged performer, self discipline is the number one quality that you need to achieve your goals. Studies show that people with greater self control are happier because they can handle difficult situations better. Crisis periods are shorter in their lives, and they are able to make positive decisions more easily and rationally. Self discipline is a learned quality just like patience. It doesn't come naturally, but with concentration and effort, it can be developed. Offering great long term benefits, self discipline will help you to make wiser, healthier choices. You learn to control your emotions, so when you make a decision, it will be less influenced by them. What's the difference between patience and self discipline? Mark's friends called him to say they were running late and wouldn't make it to his place sooner than 6 p.m. Mark was a patient guy and he didn't make a fuss about the delay. He sat down and looked around the table. There were lots of sweets and sandwiches prepared for the afternoon with his friends. He thought he should indulge himself with one bite or two while waiting. The candies were delicious, so he ate another one and another. Even though he knew he had a weight problem, he couldn't stop eating to make the time pass. What's the lesson in this simple story? Mark had developed the quality of patience, so he didn't argue with his friends for being late. But he couldn't stop eating even though he wasn't that hungry. He lacked self control, which is the foundation of self discipline. The easiest way to start practicing self discipline is to apply the rule: out of sight, out of mind. Self discipline is all about acknowledging your temptations and refusing to let them control you. A temptation might be a bad eating habit, as in Mark's case, or something like the inability to switch off the phone when you are in the middle of a major project. If you exercise self discipline, your conscious mind will be powerful enough to keep you from giving in to these temptations, even if they are in front of you. However, I would suggest you exclude them. Self discipline shakes when your Maslow pyramid crumbles. Balance your eating and drinking habits to be able to maintain your discipline. If your basic human needs are not satisfied, you won't be able to follow your plans in a disciplined and patient manner. Provide the necessary nutrition to keep your brain on track. If your blood sugar is regulated, you will have better focus and you will go on through your day in a more productive way. Remember, being comfortable is not your primary goal. If you decide to use your self discipline to change old habits, a sensation of discomfort will inevitably hit you. Trying to preserve the status quo is a natural reaction from your brain. The brain doesn't like changes. The comfort zone is its normal state, and everything that threatens this comfort, the brain tries to eliminate. If it sends you the feeling of discomfort or pain, your brain is betting that you will stop trying to change things and get back to normal. However, if you are disciplined enough and you persist, your brain will begin to accept your new habits and create a new comfort zone. Habits don't stick quickly and easily. If you lose control and act without being disciplined, forgive yourself for that. When you decide to do something differently, change won't come instantly. You will have some low points. You will have rough patches even in your disciplined life. You are not a machine after all. Self discipline's purpose is not to turn you into Buddha himself, but to help you to think clearer, be in control of your life, and choose your battles wisely. Learning to say no to others is where self awareness starts. Learning to say no to yourself is where self discipline starts. Do you want to achieve something? Dump the excuses. Step onto the right path today and unwaveringly commit yourself to staying on it. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment.